worshipper or entertainer, my guest tonight shares her story of transformation on how God moved her into true worship, a complete heart surrender. Welcome, Idowu Eyin.
Thank you, ma'am.
It's nice to have you on our show with us today.
It's nice to be here today as well.
You're
it's a pleasure.
praise worshipper?
Yes, I am.
How long have you been a praise worshipper for?
When I was about 15 years old.
Oh,
up to now. Yeah.
Okay. So have you always been in church, grown up in church? Has that been the pattern of your life?
No, I didn't grow up in church.
Okay.
My parents were more of like traditionalists.
Okay.
So I'd say that I figured out God for myself. And by the grace of God, to the glory of God, my mom was able to come to Christ.
Oh,
as
a
result of me. So
you shared with me that she had quite a serious illness.
Yes.
Where you were the one that was looking after her because it was just you and her.
Yes. At that time I was 12 years old, and at that very tender age I had to look after her, and the thought of going home from school every day not knowing if she was going to be alive or not, as a young child, that was just it was just a lot to carry. But at that time I already know a bit about God, not an in-depth knowledge of Him, but I know that He's God and He answers prayers. And I remember that I would hold on to her hands and I would say, "Let's pray, Mom, because I know that you're not going to die." And to God be the glory, she's alive today.
So how was she healed?
Yeah, my mom is she's a strong faith woman, and up until now, she doesn't even take any medications at all when she's healed. So at that time, she said she wasn't going to take any medication because she believed that God was going to heal her. And she attended White Garment Church.
Okay,
they don't believe in things like that.
Okay.
And at some point in time, they had to tell us to go home because they didn't want her to die in church.
Oh, wow.
So,
and she wouldn't go to hospital, she wouldn't
nothing, no medication, nothing. And the ailment was like our right side was all swollen. We didn't know what was happening. We just knew that all our side was swollen from the arm all the way to the legs. And they told us to go home. So we went home, me and her, got home, and as usual, we'll just pray. I'd go to school, bathe her in the morning before going to school, not knowing if she was going to be alive, come back, and she was still there. And then one day I went to school, came back, and I saw it's so funny because at that time, when I'm coming back from school, I always look out to see if there were like crowd of people waiting. Maybe mom,
you didn't know what to
I wasn't
expect.
sure. Maybe mom would have gone, and for every day I come back home, it was all empty, and I'm like, okay, yeah, she's still there. So, but on this day, I went in and I saw a few people, and I was scared, and I saw her, and she said, "Do you know what happened?" And they showed me a bucket of pus.
Wow.
It was all drained out. Apparently, God made a hole in the arm, and all the pus drained out.
And you actually saw the hole?
I saw it.
And the
hole is still there till today.
Wow.
It's still there till today.
And just from the two of you holding hands and agreeing and praying, nobody else, no intervention?
Nobody else, no interaction, nothing.
And what did that do to your faith at that age?
At that age, it strengthened my faith. It made me, I always say that when I worship, I'm like, I go somewhere else when I'm a different person when I worship. And that's because I know the God that I serve. I've seen His work from a very tender age. So there's no dispute, there's no argument.
I like that. There's no
argument. No, He's God. He's God. No argument. He's God. Yeah.
That's a wonderful thing to share at that age, to hold on to it and use it to build your faith as you went along. So when you came into this country, how did you get into music? How did you get into singing? Because I know you said you've been singing from 15 years in the back here. So how then did you transit into this?
Yeah, so coming to this country, thank God for my pastor, Reverend Olusegun Lasade, who gave me the platform and who helped me to grow. So I started singing in the choir. My vocals were so bad. I remember then they would play one key. My voice has a mind of its own.
It goes on another level.
So I wasn't the best singer, but I believe God helped me. God broke me. God molded me. He equipped me because He wants to use me. So I wouldn't say that I'm a vocalist that would know.
Or some people that they will know maybe from like 8:15 or 10 they've been singing and their voices are...
My voice is... Yeah, so I started singing in New Covenant Church, Brixton, under Reverend Olusegun Olasade, and he helped me to grow. I learned a lot from him, and yeah, so from...
I think for me, one of the times, I think the first time I saw you singing, I think for me, it was more of like your passion, you know. There's something about your passion, and there was just a knowing, you know.
Yeah.
And I just thought, oh, okay, there's something different about this lady. For me, it was more of like the passion, because at times people sing and you can't like almost... You're not on that journey with them, you know, when they're singing. I know you have a few albums that you've in terms of the albums. Do you write your songs yourself? What inspires you? How do you come up with those songs when you do write them?
So I get my songs from dreams.
Oh.
The first time I got that, I woke up and I knew that I heard some tunes, and then something I believe is the Holy Spirit told me to always put my phone by my bedside.
Okay.
Put a pen and paper by my bedside. Well, I think it was more like when God called Samuel, and he didn't. So it was something like that. So I kept my phone by my bedside. I had a pen and a paper, and my first single, Oganla, came from a dream. So I woke up and I quickly recorded the tune.
Oh, as it came to you
on your phone? Yeah. So I woke up and I recorded the tune. I was sleepy, but I recorded the tune. And surprisingly, when I woke up in the morning, the tune was gone. I didn't remember, but I played it back. And I said that it was a nice tune. It's something that can work. And God gave me the inspiration to write, to put the words together. So it was more like getting the tunes from my dreams. I'll sing it out and then I'll put the words together. Sometimes I get the words from... Sovereign Lord was from me just working one day in my room, and I looked out of the window. I saw the leaves, I saw the trees, and it just made me appreciate God as the sovereign God, the Jehovah Adonai, and just started singing Sovereign Lord, Sovereign Lord, Sovereign Lord.
And that's how it comes to you.
Yeah.
I know you're also an entrepreneur, you're a businesswoman.
Yes.
Tell us what you do in terms of business.
So I'm into hair.
We can tell.
Yeah, I love everything about hair.
And fashion.
And fashion. I love fashion. My mom, I think I got that from, actually all of us, we have that fashion instinct. I got that from my mom, who is a fashion designer.
Oh, yes.
Yes, so I do hair and fashion.
Okay. With the hair, is it just strictly about doing hair? Because I know you were sharing with me how even through that, God has just used it to minister to people. Yeah. So for the hair, it goes beyond just making wigs, and like you said, there are loads of people outside that do that now.
Yeah. So the difference is where women can relate. They can relate to you. They can share their problems with you. And as a woman of God, you can help them to, you can speak to them in relation to the Bible, so the ways of God, how you can live your life according to, live a godly life. And so for me, I think it's a ministry by default.
Exactly, because it wasn't one that was planned.
Yeah.
And even your business, you can't came into it by default, because it's not something you actually...
No.
Yes. So how did you get into that one?
I worked at Citibank. I worked at Central Bank in Nigeria, so I've always been in the banking industry.
Right.
But coming here, it was when we were waiting on the Lord for a child. And I was working I was working at Citibank. My husband was working at Guy's Hospital. We'll go out in the morning, come back in the evening, the normal 9 to 5 rush and all. And we were waiting for a child. So I went to the pharmacy.
Did you have to wait long for a child?
Actually, not long, but it was actually, I think, about 15 months, but that 15 months was like 15 years.
I was going to say, waiting for people are different, exactly.
That 15 months was like 15 years, because we took a break and we said, okay, first year we want to enjoy ourselves. And then when it was time, so it actually looked so long. So, and I remembered just walking into a pharmacy, and the pharmacist said to me, I always see you come here to buy this clear blue thing. How much rest do you take? And I said, no, we don't take as much because I work, I have to work, my husband has to work as well. And he said, all you just have to do is just rest. So we took a break, and my husband, my sister was already into the hair business at the time. And I spoke to her, I said, I need to rest, I need to take time off this work. So she said, then start your own salon. She helped me, and that was how the salon came into. I've never had intention to be a businesswoman.
So I know, really. But even from the salon, because I was sharing, I know you were sharing with me how even through the salon, because people come, and at the salon is just that place where you get into conversations, and they become quite vulnerable, and they just begin to share things. It's almost like the Baba version of men, where a lot of things are shared, you know, at the Baba salon, and people open up. And through that, you know, you were sharing. Tell us, you know, some of the things that you've experienced in terms of you being able to relate to women, and they open up to you, and you share about God to them.
I had this experience with one of my clients who, she came into my dream, and she's not a regular client. She comes every now and again, and that day I went to the shop, and I just saw her show up. I'm like, I went to her, I said, actually the first time I didn't want to say anything to her because we're that close, but I had to someone there, I said, I saw you in my dream, you came in my dream. And she said, what did you see? I said, you know, I don't even know. All I just know is that I saw you in my dream today. And then she said, okay, can I see you? So we went upstairs to my office, sat down, and she just burst into tears and started sharing about her life experience, about what she was going through. And at that point in time, I knew God wanted me to say something to her. So I just said to her, I asked her what she was going through, and I just got the inspiration from God on how to encourage her about how she was going through. And she said, what I said to her was totally different to what every other person has said to her, has advised her. And she said she was going to do it. Because first of all, she didn't know how she came into my dream. She showed up that day on a day when she had the most difficult time. And she went back, did as we said, according to how the Lord directed. And she came back to testify. So
and that's the beauty, isn't it, of when you listen and you never know why you're in the position you're in. God strategically, I think it just strategically puts us in certain positions and situations to be able to share about, you know, and impact other lives. We're going to go on a break now, and then when we come back, we'll talk more about your music, some of the experiences, and especially an incident that happened to you regarding your throat. We're going to go on a quick break now. Please stay tuned, and we'll be back soon.